Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel just killed off Miss Marvel, even though she's going to be in the live-action Marvels movie later this year, and they have big plans for the character. They're making Miss Marvel Season 2 on Disney Plus as well. They've been doing way more with the character than ever before, just in general. Naturally, everybody was surprised when they just flat-out killed the character with no warning. And it's all part of working around the grand tradition of comic book continuity problems in the most extreme ways possible. So I'll explain what's going on.
You have questions.
Yes. I had a lot of questions. I'm sure you had a lot of questions, but rest assured, we're going to answer them right now.
Because, spoiler,
Really seems like Marvel's bending over backwards to fix some continuity issues. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We're in the middle of Secret Invasion episodes. There are only a couple left. That's going to help set up the Marvels movie that's happening later this year, and we're going to get the next big Marvels trailer in the next couple of weeks, in lieu of Marvel doing a big Comic-Con panel in Hall H, where they typically drop a bunch of footage. Everybody's seen the news about the big strike that's going on right now. Most big studios have canceled their huge Comic-Con plans for movies and TV shows. There's still stuff happening at Comic-Con, just not nearly as much, so I will be doing a bunch of Comic-Con videos for all the stuff that does get released. But you probably saw recently that Marvel just killed off the Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel character in Amazing Spider-Man number 26. Like, they killed her off in a completely different character's title. She teams up with Spider-Man to stop the emissary from killing Mary Jane Watson to become a god. At one point, Spider-Man tasks Miss Marvel with keeping him away from Mary Jane or else Earth ends. Miss Marvel comes up with the idea to distract him while Mary Jane runs away down an alley, and he winds up teleporting in front of Mary Jane and teleporting behind Miss Marvel and running a blade through her back. Literally killing the character off by having her getting stabbed in the back in a dark alleyway. R.I.P. to Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. People went crazy even though we knew there was going to be a big comic book twist.
What?
God, he could be lying.
We can
guys.
trust you. We can trust
Wow.
her. He a Skrull.
She might be a
She's
scroll.
not a Skrull.
Oh, okay,
Come on.
okay.
She's a Skrull.
Right after they released that issue, they had a comic for her funeral called Fallen Friend, The Death of Miss Marvel, very reminiscent of the classic Death of Superman storyline, Funeral for a Friend. All the Marvel characters coming to mourn her. Again, people still wondering why Marvel would kill off the character who they've been trying to make such a high-profile person in the movies in the Disney Plus series right now. Marvel's even having her help put together the next Young Avengers team in the MCU. They have big plans for the character. This is where we get to the old school comic book twist, like the biggest of comic book twists. They didn't fridge her or anything like that, but anyone who has ever read a comic book ever knows that there's no such thing as permadeath in the comics. Even the super old characters who actually did get fridged back in the day have since been retconned back into more modern comics.
No. Am I already lying?
And Marvel literally just confirmed my theory, a lot of other people's theories this past week with a bunch of new preview pages. Marvel killed her off so that they could resurrect her as a mutant. And a lot of you who don't read comics regularly are like, wait a minute, this seems complicated. Why would they do that? What's the whole point? In the new preview, Iman Vellani, the actress who plays Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel in real life, helped write on a new comic book for her where she gets resurrected as a mutant called Miss Marvel, the New Mutant. The title is a reference to the New Mutants comic book, as well as you see her wearing a new X-Men variant of her Miss Marvel suit based on the original X-Men comic book suits from the 1960s. The official synopsis reads, after being brought back via Krakoan resurrection technology, Kamala is shocked to learn she is a mutant, but before she has a chance to come to terms with this revelation, the catastrophic Fall of X will throw her world into chaos and a secret mission on behalf of the X-Men. Fall of X is a big X-Men storyline that's happening in the current Marvel comics right now. So they're making her a big part of the ongoing X-Men storyline in present day. Last month when they killed her off, a lot of us suspected that Marvel would just resurrect her using Krakoa or something similar and say that she'd always had mutant DNA inside of her. Krakoa as a living mutant island would detect it and bring her back. The island has the mutant powers of resurrection, but only mutants are allowed on the island. So it's like Marvel's way of saying that she'd always secretly been a mutant, not an Inhuman. Now, the people who created the character said they aren't completely retconning the Inhuman stuff out of her backstory. She will have been Inhuman for a while, and there'll be some big twist that will explain why she's a mutant now. But a lot of people are like, why bend over backwards this far? Marvel will eventually do more Inhumans-related stuff in the MCU, like Anson Mount, who plays Black Bolt, came back in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, even though they killed him off pretty quickly, said that he's already been talking to Marvel about coming back as another version of his Black Bolt character. Marvel's eventually going to bring Chloe Bennett's Quake back, and she's probably still going to be an Inhuman. The whole Miss Marvel Kamala Khan mutant thing actually goes way back to the original creation of the character and gets into the whole Ike Perlmutter versus Kevin Feige, the X-Men movies copyright issue way back from the early 2000s. The Kamala character was created in 2013. At the time, Fox still owned all the X-Men Fantastic Four movie rights, and since the early 2000s, after Marvel had to sell off the rights to its characters, Ike Perlmutter, who eventually came to control the company after Marvel went into bankruptcy in the 90s, made all the comic book people stop publishing new X-Men and Fantastic Four comics because Marvel didn't own the movie rights anymore. He didn't want them promoting some other studio's movies, and Fox had just started making all the original X-Men Fantastic Four movies. Through the 2000s to 2010s, there were still X-Men comics that they did, but very few compared to the emphasis on them before the sell-off. Like the X-Men characters used to be Marvel's most popular group in the 90s. That's why Fox bought the rights back in the 90s, because they felt like they could develop a movie based on the X-Men because it was so commercial at the time. It was so popular just in general. So when they created the Kamala character in the 2010s, the creators at the time wanted to make her a mutant, but because of the copyright and the movie stuff going on, the Marvel editors forced them to make her an Inhuman instead. So they always had planned on making her a mutant, they just weren't allowed to because of copyright reasons. Remember how several years ago, Ike Perlmutter made Kevin Feige start developing an Inhumans movie? We saw it up on the board at Comic-Con one year. All those Inhuman plans, it seemed like Marvel was making was because they couldn't get the X-Men rights back at the time, and they wanted a group to replace the X-Men. Obviously, things are way different in present day now. Disney bought Fox, they're doing Deadpool 3, like I just did a Deadpool 3 video of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine fighting Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. All those original X-Men, Fantastic Four actors, even Ben Affleck's Daredevil is coming back in Deadpool 3 as their versions of the characters. But through all this, Ms. Marvel continued being an Inhuman character in the comics, so when Kevin Feige did the Ms. Marvel series after they got the X-Men rights back, in the finale they had a big teaser for her secretly being a mutant, and they even played the X-Men the Animated Series theme song. At the time, a lot of people just assumed that that meant that she would be a mutant in the MCU, and she'd just keep being an Inhuman in the comics. Now, based on the death and rebirth twist here, it seems like they're just changing the character in the comics so that the comic book version and the MCU version are a little bit closer. There's still a billion differences between the comic book version and the MCU version. It's the same for all the different characters, like even Iron Man, all the regular MCU characters. But now in present day, it's just them doing the thing that they always wanted to do because now they have all the rights. There aren't any behind-the-scenes issues going on preventing them from saying that she's a mutant. Like I said, this twist is probably one of the most comic booky things that they can do. Like, okay, we're going to explain how we're going to completely change the character and it's totally going to make sense. Marvel hasn't said when they're going to release Ms. Marvel Season 2. She's going to be in the Marvels movie later this year, and during that, maybe like in a post-credit scene, she's going to steal some of Nick Fury's information from his Saber space station that has data on other superpowered individuals Nick Fury has been evaluating for potential use, quote-unquote. Remember, he's putting together that next Avengers team, so he's making a list and checking it twice. One-eyed F-bomb dropping Santa Claus. In fun fact, Santa Claus is also a super powerful Marvel character. He even wielded the Infinity Gauntlet, showed up in the X-Men comics a bunch. Ms. Marvel is supposed to steal Nick Fury's list and then go around trying to recruit younger characters to make their own team, so to speak, that will be the Young Avengers characters like Cassie Lang Stinger, Kate Bishop Hawkeye, eventually Billy and Tommy once they come back as teenagers. Older Billy, we know, is supposed to be played by Joe Locke. He's going to show up in the Agatha Coven of Chaos series. I'm not sure where Tommy is coming back. Maybe during the upcoming Vision Quest series. There will be more Young Avengers Easter eggs in the next few years, and we'll see if the full team comes together before or after Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. They might wait a little while to do the actual full team, like Hulkling is supposed to show up at some point too. He'll be on the team once he does appear. We'll see if they wind up doing a version of Iron Lad or if they just substitute Riri Williams' Ironheart onto the team instead. Young T'Challa Jr. is also so much younger than the other characters. The only way that he'd make it onto the team is that they aged him up super fast with some big twist in Avengers 5 or Avengers 6. Right now, I'm not expecting him to become the next Black Panther till after Black Panther 3. I do think they'll do at least one more Shuri Black Panther movie. They'll wait 3 or 4 years and have young T'Challa take the mantle, and by that time, he'd be almost old enough even without having to age him up as some big twist behind the scenes. That new Marvels trailer should release in the next week or two. I'll do a new video for it when it comes, and I'll put a link for the last big Marvels trailer in the description below. Everyone click here for my Deadpool 3 Wolverine video, and click here for my Secret Invasion Episode 5 video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.